Hello, my loves. Welcome into this reading for those who do not have the sun, the moon, the rising sign, or any of the planets, including Pluto, in the sign of Aries. Welcome in. If you haven't already watched the introduction to the Aries solar season readings, you may want to do that. It's linked in the description and popping up here on YouTube. So let me talk a little bit more about the background energy of Aries. So first things first, we all have archetypes of all of the zodiac story present in our charts. Okay. If I included every possible expression of Aries you could have in your chart, there'd be so many readings and it would just take way too much time. Okay. So let me be clear. What this means is that you have none of the planets, not the sun, not the moon, or the rising sign in the sign of Aries. But that's not to say you don't have another influential aspect in Aries. Your Chiron could be in Aries. Your North Node could be in Aries. Your Midheaven could be in Aries. There's other planetary bodies that could be in Aries. And so what this is a general catch-all for the rest of us who don't have those bigger players in the sign of Aries, okay? But some readers will only focus on the North Node, okay? Or the South Node, or the nodes in general, or Chiron, okay? So it's not to say that you may not have some significant Aries energy in your chart. It's just saying that for the purpose of this reading, I created this particular category to be a catch-all for most people, okay? Who don't have these Aries influences. Now, another thing to point out is even if you don't have any of planets, sun, moon, or rising in Aries, it may be true that your Aries house, which is the first house, okay, rules the first house. Any planets that you have in the first house also have the Aries energy because Aries is the ruler of the first house. Now, even if that is so awesome, I love that that aligned for you, dear. I'm just catching in with you right now, and that's so awesome. Perfect. So even if you don't have any planets, sun, moon, or rising in Aries, but you have planets in the first house, there's your Aries energy. And even if you don't have anything in the first house, Mars is the planet that rules Aries. So wherever Mars is in your chart is representing these Aries energies and vibrations. So it's not to say that you don't have any significant Aries energy. Again, it's just a catch-all to give me a little bit less readings to do and to also let you know that it's a background influence. So I like to say that, like, look at your, like, think of it like a stage. All the planets are the actors on the stage, and the background energies is like the backdrop. It's always present, it's still influencing you. Oh, that's so funny. No planets in the first house either. Yeah, but you still have Mars somewhere. So that's still representing the Aries energy at some point in your chart. But that's really funny. I love it. So yeah, there's this energy of the background influence. So let's get into the reading, but recognize that you have all of these energies in the background influence of everything that you do, but it's not specified in one area. It's just kind of the backdrop. Because it was still in the sky when you were born. It was still beaming energy and sending energy to Earth at that time. And it was still influencing you, even though it's not, you know, one of the main things that we focus on. Yeah, of course. I love to focus on a lot of the background energies. I have a lot of areas in my chart that are completely empty and void of planets and aspects. So I just love that I catch everybody with this system because, you know, this energy is still influencing us in some way and we don't want to leave anybody out for sure. So we're going to find out from the Light Seer Tarot by Chris Ann how we're being guided this solar phase to act and thoughtfully respond in all aspects of our life and the background influence of our life. So if you haven't already, taken a few deep breaths, opened your heart to receive the guidance most aligned for you at this time, called in your support team if that feels good to you, I recommend you do that. Let's see what card is here for my background Aries friends. Okay. It's going to be this top card here. Ooh, yeah. So here is your card, the Temperance card. I'm I'm going to read from the booklet. This is the classic tarot deck and energy, but I like to read the modern interpretation from this deck. It's really cool how these cards are reimagined and interpreted, not just through the artwork, which is amazing in this deck, but also through the interpretation. I just wanted to move that to show you that he's holding the sun and the moon at the same time, which I think is beautiful. Okay, here's his message. Temperance is the alchemist of life, and it calls you to create your purposeful blend using moderation and patience as ingredients. Where are you focusing your precious energies right now? Maybe you've been overdoing it in your social life, or bringing on television, or binging on television, drinks, or food, or overspending. Focusing on a relationship that is depleting more energy than it is replenishing. Being wholly materialistic versus wholly spiritual. We live in a world of extreme passions and heated hustle, so slowing down the desire for excess in any area of your life may be harder than you think. Don't be so drastic right now. Stay away from all or nothing choices. Clearing your energy of extremes will foster a dynamic, nourishing flow that is aligned with your perfect alchemical purpose. Seek equilibrium and be mindful of your resources while fusing all the elements to achieve a beautiful balance. Thank you for your patience while I read these. It's the first time I've actually spoken these out loud. First time I've used this deck in a live reading. Love it. Okay. Beautiful message of temperance and balance, and really cautioning you to not overdo in any area of your life right now, to really find that middle ground with anything that you're doing right now. There's an affirmation here that I do recommend you write down, and you can write it on a post-it note, put it on your mirror. You can put it on an index card by your bed and read it in the morning and at night. You can type it into the background picture of your phone, whatever works for you, okay? I walk the middle path, and I nourish my spiritual wholeness. If you didn't get all of that, you can go back and I'll watch this again and just pause at that point, okay? Yeah, I love this card. I love this energy. The sun and the moon are like balancing each other out here. It's great to focus on balance here with the background energy and influence, because there's no big ping for you. There's no big heavy hitter in this area of your life. So you're really just being invited to like take stock of it all and just notice, where is there an imbalance? Where is there something in your life that's just not serving you? What is overstimulated? What is underdeveloped? One thing that I do to help myself with this is I'll like write down areas of my life that I want to progress within a week. And then I'll like check off what I've done. And I'll notice like which area of my life I'm putting more emphasis in than any other. Like for me, a lot of times research is really exciting for me, but like going and doing the like sharing the knowledge or implementing the knowledge is not always like the first thing that I go to. So that was something that I had to recognize, is like I'm always wanting to research the things, but I'm not always wanting to continue it. I nourish my spiritual wholeness. For those who are watching on YouTube, I have someone chatting on Facebook. So if you're confused of who I'm talking to, it's a Facebook friend. So yeah, spiritual wholeness, what does that mean? Well, it's different for everybody, because what spirit means to you is different for you than anybody else, right? And you get to determine that. That's part of the goal of my readings here, is to guide you back to your own knowing, your own listening, your own relationship with whatever it is that you go to have a relationship with for these spiritual things. God, goddess, angels, guides, all there is, ancestors, star family, fairies, mythological creatures. Doesn't matter what you call it, right? But it matters that you get to develop your relationship with it and understand that there is this spiritual quality of life. A lot of times we focus on the physical, we focus on the emotional sometimes, and the mental, but the spiritual kind of gets left out in left field, because it's so vast that everyone has their own corner of it, and it's hard to like talk about it in a general way, because everyone's experience of the spiritual is like so vastly different because it's just a big, all-encompassing net, right? So, my background in Aries, that's your advice. There's nothing really more to share here. Get your balance, get your understanding, let yourself, I would make a list. I'd sit down and I write whatever came up for me, the first things that came up for you when you heard about balancing, and those questions that the card was offering of like, is this out of balance or is this out of balance? And then what can you do to bring it back into balance? What can you do? Sometimes when something's out of balance, what you need to do is like do the opposite for a while until it brings you to a point of balance. So listen to see if that's what the necessary resolution is for you. And or sometimes we just need to stop feeding it, just stop touching it at all, and it'll come back into balance all on its own. Okay, so it's kind of up to you to determine how to achieve this balance. But it's there for you to achieve. It's there for you to grasp onto, and you're being called into that strongly. While everyone else is highlighting their Aries energy and getting the most out of where in their chart it's pinging for them, you're getting the most out of all the background influence. You're just bringing balance to everything in the background so that you can get ready for Taurus season and however that hits you, right? Yeah, so that's all the advice. I'm grateful that my Facebook friend here was able to catch this live, and it was the perfect alignment for you. Yeah, so let me know how this resonates. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors that universal light within you. Namaste.